Hello everybody, and welcome back to Pokemon What? So as you can see, we have began our climb our way through the Victory Road as we continue our progress to make it to the Pokemon League. But of course, since we have to slide down through the mountainsides if we want to be able to not only get progression done, and also if we want to get every single item here, then there's gonna be a plentiful of backtracking to do. So yeah, let's just say I'm probably gonna be here a lot more longer. Yeah. But anyways, now before we officially continue, our official progression, let us now make our official shortcut back. There we go. Yep, and now whenever we go back there, now we can simply just utilize the area that we just utilized strength with, so that we can actually get back to that spot. But anyways, everyone, now since we are now reached the at least the third floor of this place, yeah, I am now gonna go over the Pokemon that you can find here. Now, but however, it isn't any change from the second floor, considering that, well, yeah, the only thing that's different, the only things that are different, like once you get past the first floor, is that you won't find any of the Pokemon that you find within the water. Yeah, considering that there is no any source of water past the first floor. And then when it comes to the actual cave itself, yeah, the only thing that's different is that we don't find any dinos. So yeah, if you still want to find your dino, then you essentially have to stay on the first floor if you want to be able to pick one up. Yeah, now, if you still want to pick one up. But as I said previously, it probably won't be the best idea for you to be able to keep one on your team. But anyways, and yeah, as you can see, we are facing against another trainer who has the monkeys. Yeah, if we see one, that means that they're most likely gonna have the other two. Although we have seen several trainers who only have just like at least one of them, but we usually only see them together, really. Yeah, but anyways, let's switch around a little bit. Yeah, you go there, since you're now level 46. Okay. Now, I think this is where we're now gonna be. Oh, yes, right, I'm gonna go over down here, where we get our full store. Oh, yeah, and now for those parts, yeah, we can't exactly slide down any of those. Yeah, but anyways. But now we're gonna go out through here, now go through here, and now we're gonna face off against this guy. Let's see what you got. Whenever I am lost, I meet a trainer. Of course, we're gonna fight. Well, yeah, that is essentially the basics of trainers anyway. But anyways, everyone, now as we are just gonna be going through the rest of this mountain, gonna go for the rest of the victory road. I guess I should talk about the music that plays during this. Now, for those of you who heard the build-up of music before we reach the last gate, Yeah, but yeah, before we went through that final gate, yeah, that is the only time in the entire game where you really get to hear, like, the build-up music to that final one. To the final one. And overall, like I gotta say, as for the Victory Road music itself, and also essentially the final, and of course I'm also referring to the final version of this music, the final version of the Victory Road music. Yeah, I gotta say, I really do like the Victory Road music for this one. Yeah, it really is good. Although I'll say this, the music does get better. Essentially, when we get to the Pokemon League. Yeah, that is all I'm gonna say on that for now. Oh boy, I'm just getting excited again. Oh, hello. Yeah, that's right. Now he's where we get our introduction to the evolution of Girder. Conkeldurr! Yeah, as you can see, yeah, Timber goes from having like essentially a piece of wood to Girder, who essentially carries like a big metal plank. And now we have a Conkeldurr who actually utilizes actual planks of cement. Yeah, he actually utilizes that freaking cement to actually attack you with. Yeah, have you ever got yourself hit by actual cement? Yeah, those can friggin' hurt you. Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, see, now, and I guess I should also say for Conkeldurr as well, yeah, now even though Conkeldurr, when it comes to his screen time in the anime, isn't much, again, but he does get somewhat of screen time. Yeah, now his debut appearance was when we first saw the Trips Girder who had evolved into Conkeldurr. And then we got several Conkeldurrs during that final arc for Team Plasma for Team Plasma, and then we saw Conkeldurr at least twice within the Kalos anime. Now that first one, there was that one Conkeldurr that teamed up with a Ursaring to take down not only the Machamp, but also a Halucha. And then with that other Conkeldurr was during that first episode of their summer camp arc, you know, where it actually got defeated by a Tierno's Dancing Squirtle. Yeah, that was essentially the introduction to the side characters, that you also got to interact within X and Y. Yeah, and of course we know Tierno, Shauna, and Trevor. Yeah. Now, even though, yeah, and I guess I was just saying this. While Tierno and definitely Shauna definitely get the majority of the screen time out of the three, but as for Trevor, not so much with him. Yeah. Trevor doesn't really get all that much focus within the X and Y anime, really. Yeah. Yeah, we only just saw glimpses of him here and there. And we did get that one major focus with Trevor Yeah, yeah, and it is in that same episode where Ash's Fletchinder evolves into Talonflame. Yeah, it is also the same episode where they actually encounter a Moltres. Yeah, but anyway, always have one now. Now, what you're seeing on screen right now, they do place a doctor right here. Yeah, I'm sure, just in case if you ever want to heal yourself. So, yeah, of course, yeah, and if you, so, yeah, now you do have to go all the way back to the Pokemon Center again. Unless of course if you want to get more items from the shop, that is. But anyways, now, back to what I was saying about, Conkeldurr. Yeah, after that episode where a Conkeldurr got defeated by the Dancing Squirtle, I don't think we really saw Conkeldurr after that. Yeah, we never really saw Conkeldurr after that. Which is honestly a darn shame. Yeah, and it's definitely a shame because as I said before, yeah, I think if the Timberline has got it the worst, yeah, when it comes to ultimately being defeated, yeah, over and over again. Yeah, I don't know why. And I said before, yeah, I know that the anime doesn't always let every single Pokemon that we see actually win. But I honestly just find it the worst when it comes to the Timberline, where even though it looks like they're doing well, but then it turns out that they just end up losing anyway. So yeah, that's why I really want to see one day at least one of the Timberline actually get themselves a win. No, win the most. Jeez. Oh, hello. Yeah, that's right. Now here's where we finally get the introduction to the evolution of Klang. Yeah, and as you can tell, the whole evolution line when it comes to the whole evolution line of Klang, yeah, they essentially just put in more gears. They essentially just implement more gears as they evolve. Although Klang actually loses the other eyes that the first Klang has. It no longer has the double eyes and mouths, just like a Klang does. But yet when it evolves, it actually loses those set of eyes. Eyes as it evolves, I guess. Anyways, Darmanitan. Okay, good. You guys are paralyzed. Good. Okay, and I'm hoping that you guys are paralyzed again, because I still want my Striker to get the experience that it desperately needs. Shit! Here comes that Flare Blitz. Okay, I'm hoping that my Striker can live. Oh, what am I saying? Yeah, what am I saying? And now Darmanitan's gonna kill himself. Which means I did not get any experience from that. Dang it. Yeah, I was hoping that either the Darmanitan would get himself fully paralyzed again, or that my Striker could live that freaking Flare Blitz, but nope. Yeah, as we all know, Darmanitan has got that huge attack power, and Strikers are frail. Yeah. But anyways, Sage, good job, and also getting onto level 46. Now it's just a matter of if I can actually get my Substriker to get if I can actually get my Substriker to actually get himself up to that level. Yeah, since it is now the only member of my team that desperately needs to get to level 46. Yeah, and I'm also thinking, once we reach the end of the Victory Road, yeah, before I even get to going through the Pokemon League, yeah, I feel like I may need to do some training. Yeah, I feel like I may need to do some off-screen training. Yeah, I feel like most likely I want to do some off-screen training again. Because, yeah, I think I definitely need it. Yeah, if I want to have any chance of getting through that whole entire, yeah, especially if I want to get through that whole entire league. Anyways, now I think you're the last trainer, and now I believe you are the last trainer that we fight against, before we actually get to the actual very end of... yeah, I believe you're the last trainer we fight against, before we actually get to the end of the Victory Road. Yeah, and considering that he's a veteran, which means he's gonna be one tough cookie. Anyways, Martel. Oh, hello. Yeah, hello there. Yeah, now here's where we get the introduction to the evolution of Conkeldurr. Gigalith! Yeah, Gigalith, yeah, now he definitely looks like Gigalith definitely looks like a big, tall, like, monster. A monster. Yeah, Gigalith now definitely looks like an actual rock monster. Yeah. But anyways. Oh god, Stone Edge, please don't kill my Sage. Frick. I know that my Sage is also frail as well. Oh, come on, really? But anyways, now Gigalith, now in terms of his appearances in the anime, he doesn't get very that much. Yeah, the only major appearance that we really get for Gigalith was during the debut appearance of Alder, Alder. Yeah, and then we have this Gigalith, there was this Gigalith that was on a wild, was on a wild rampage. And I definitely saw another Gigalith getting defeated by Cameron's Riolu during the Unova League. But that's really about it, really. And speaking of not getting that many appearances either, that's where we get to the evolution of Eelektross! Yep. Yeah, now we finally get the evolution line of the Pokemon that doesn't get utilized that very often in terms of not only in the games, but also in the anime either. Yeah, the only major appearance of Eelektross that we've really gotten to the anime was definitely the one that was utilized by the subway bosses. Yeah, that of course being Indigo and Emmett. Yeah, but other than that, we have not seen Eelektross anywhere else. Yeah, again, I just wish some of these Unova Pokemon got utilized in the anime more. Yeah, I just really wish, honestly, I just wish that they actually got utilized more, more often, But anyways, now we should go inside here. We've now reached the very top of the Victory Road. And of course, pass through there is where we go to we're gonna get ourselves to the Pokemon League. But however, of course, since we haven't gotten every item yet, we haven't exactly explored everywhere in this Victory Road yet. Yeah, which means that, I'm gonna spend some time just exploring around for a little bit. And speaking of items, as you saw, I have now gotten the TM4 Wild Charge. I wonder if I'm gonna be utilizing that on one of. I feel like if I'm gonna be using that on one of my Pokemon eventually. But anyways, everyone. Now, yeah, like I said. Now, oh yeah, it's right. And I guess I should point this out as well. This Victory Road, the Victory Road is actually the only time, it's the only place in the entire game where you don't actually get to hear not only the surfing music, but also the bicycle music as well. Yeah, we don't actually get to hear either of those pieces of music anywhere in this whole during this whole Victory Road. But anyways, yeah. Oh, and I believe we go up here. Yep, down here's where we get the TM for Dragon Claw. Yeah, I wonder if I'm gonna also be using that. I would feel like I'm also gonna be using that item for that TM for one of my Pokemon as well. But anyways, now just before we end this, yeah, because I am gonna be ending this part off pretty soon enough. Now, for those of you for those of you who have been watching this playthrough so far, yeah, may know that like after we got to encounter Cobalion, then we got to encounter Verizon, after that. But we still have yet we still have yet to see the third one. Well, that's because wait, but first. Oh yeah, I thought it was gonna be an item bundle, but instead it was just another extra trip. But anyways, as I was saying, yeah, for where the third one is, if we go inside this cave, yep, we now have the trial chamber, and here is where the third one is finally located. Yeah, which of course means one thing. We're finally gonna attempt to catch this thing for the next part. And so, to the next part, I'll see you guys next time.